Hey, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Overlay, a poker podcast brought to you by CCG Poker and Paramount Social Club in beautiful Houston, Texas. Some guy was like, hey, is CCG Poker in Houston, Texas as well? Because I've never played in that room, and you guys sound awesome. And I was like, no, I should probably say brought to you by Chicago's own CCG Poker and Paramount Social Club in beautiful Houston, Texas.
That way, it is a little misleading.
Yeah, so like some guy kept texting me. He's like, bro, where are you? And I was like, we're at the VFW in fucking Warrenville. What are you doing? 30 seconds in, I'm already dropping F-bombs. It's been one of those days.
It's one of those days.
It's been one of those days. And I was like, what do you, I'm like, he's like, yeah. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm on the street. Like, and I was like, no, that's not even a street that's in Warrenville. What are you talking about? I'm like, Northwest Freeway. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, you're in Texas, right? He's like,
yeah,
obviously I'm in Texas. And I was like, yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
You're about
the C in CCG.
You're about
unfortunately
17 hours
Chicago.
away. If you leave now, you can be here for tomorrow's bounty tournament. Hey, Brando, what's going on?
Have you ever seen that? Speaking of F-bombs, you ever seen that Mark Cuban thing where he's on the stage of some production thing? He's on the stage and the lady's interviewing him. She's like, "Oh, you had so much trash talk. You actually dropped an F-bomb, and we're gonna fine you $30,000." And she's like, "What do you think about that?" And he's like, "Fuck it, I'll say another one. Is that another 30,000?" Like, it's great.
I mean, so good.
Yep.
It would be nice to have Mark Cuban type money so that when somebody said like, "Oh, you can't say this," well, double it because that's just what I'm going to do. That's
double
great.
It. 30,000.
Hey, fuck it.
Whatever.
Make it 60.
Right. It's so great. It's like Elon buying Twitter. But anyways, we're flying all over the place.
Yep.
What are we talking about?
We're going to rein it in. 2 minutes in. Here we go. Today's episode 66. Congratulations to Brandon and I for making it 66 episodes. I'm kind of wild, always impressed and moderately surprised that we've stuck to this long. But I think you and I both enjoy doing this. So thank you to all of our...
It's just finding the time, but I mean, we could squeeze in some episodes.
Trying to do 2 a month.
I like it.
Thank you for our podcast fans out there. We have gotten quite a few compliments. I get more compliments now about the podcast than I do about the vlog, which maybe makes me think I should rededicate myself to the vlog.
Or you just get Brando on the vlog, and then
maybe we should do a Brando vlog. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm going to throw it out there. First, podcast listeners are going to hear this first. Brandon doesn't even know what I'm going to say. It could literally be anything. But fuck it. Make it 60. Here we go.
I don't like it.
The Twitter takeover of Las Vegas during the WSOP this past November when Brando was on his sick run worked so well. I kind of feel like we could almost do like a Brando vlog. Like we might have to do a Brandon vlog. I might hire an intern to come out and just vlog Brandon's main event. Liam is going to be the new head of the media department here at CCG, which actually is kind of a great idea.
That's a great hire.
Liam, call me. All right, here we go. Episode 66. Today we're going to talk about a question that has been kind of swirling around CCG social media, as well as down in Paramount. I kind of always put the same questions out on all the platforms because I want to get information from both geographic areas. So this applies to everybody. Here we go. Who is the better cash game player? Sorry. Nope, that's not right.
Nope.
Who is the...
Check.
Yep, start over. Who is the better poker player? The cash game grinder or the tournament poker expert? Tournament players versus cash game players. Who's better? Who's worse? Who's got the advantage? And, let's discuss. So let's discuss, Brandon.
Well, you want me to just dive right in with my opinion, or?
Well, I think we'll kind of set the stage a little bit. Here at CCG, there is a $20,000 free roll main event seat giveaway, meaning if you win the free roll, you get a main event package to go to Las Vegas, play in the main event, plus travel expenses, moderately speaking. $1,500, you're not traveling first class, but it's pretty good. And the cool part about the free roll here at CCG is that 25 cash game players qualify for the free roll, and 25 tournament players qualify for the free roll. So we're going to have a 50-person free roll with a legitimate 50-50 split of cash game versus tournament players. And it's funny, there's been this kind of like, I don't know, what's the right word I'm looking for? I was thinking like vendetta, but that's too like weirdly strong. I was thinking like just a lot of like, shit talking back and forth. I was trying to find a more elegant term than shit talking, but apparently that's the best I can come up with.
Yeah, it's like friendly banter, I guess.
There you go. No, that's better. That is significantly better. Yeah, pretend I said that. Friendly banter between cash game players talking to the tournament players like, you guys don't have a chance, and the tournament guys are like, you got to be joking, right? Like, you don't even, like, it's a waste of time. You should have given your 25 seats, give it to a tournament player who didn't qualify, and you'd have better chances of winning this, and then chop the blah, 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 blah. So, I'm interested to hear what Brandon's thoughts are and kind of an actual, like, a Brandon scientific breakdown of why one way or the other is better. Because it's kind of
you gotta prep me. You gotta prep me on these Joe Biden style, where I know the questions.
Yeah, you're just reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah, because you're pulling a Trump on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what
love
to
it.
say.
Love it.
And now I just gotta, I'm not quite as quick as him. I don't know, but no, I do actually know. Well, I know my opinion, and I guess it's my time to just delve into that opinion.
That's all that matters.
We're 8 minutes into the episode. I think that the ball is kind of in the tournament guys' court, right? I mean, they're on their home turf. They're doing what they're comfortable doing. As a whole, you would think that they would just, off the top of your head, you'd be like, well, obviously the tournament guys. I mean, they play tournaments all the time. Cashing guys.
You are playing a tournament, so it'd be like saying, I know they're very similar and they're really close, but it's kind of like the only thing I can think of is like tennis. There are players who are really good on clay courts, really good grass players, and then really good, right? Like, and obviously they're all good at different things, but like if you play right, that's the idea here. Like, we're playing in a very specific niche of a free roll, and it's like the cash game guys probably already are at a disadvantage because they're not playing on, like you said, home turf. Go ahead.
Right. The format of poker makes it, leans the scale a little bit towards the tournament.
Which I kind of feel like next year we should do like a poker triathlon where it's like, okay, free roll 1 is tournament. Free roll 2 is cash game something or other. And then the third one will be like cycling. And then that way we can make sure we know who's the number one poker player. Sports betting could be the third bet, the third leg.
Yeah. Everybody will lose there.
Spades, gin, Chinese poker. Oh my God, we could do so many things.
Remember we said we weren't going to sidetrack?
Yep. Nope. Didn't.
We talked about this.
We did.
Now we're talking about spades and a triathlon in next year's free roll.
I had a really good dad joke. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Guy goes, do you think you could beat a shark in a triathlon? And I was like, what? And he's like, do you think you could beat a shark? And I was like, I don't know. I've never thought about it. He's like, well, probably safe to say that the shark's going to beat you in the swimming aspect, but I'm pretty sure you could beat him in a land race. So I guess it's just going to come down to the cycling event. And I was like, oh my God, that's kind of funny.
Well, I don't get it.
Right, because it's you swim and then you run and then you're on a bicycle and the shark will obviously win the swimming aspect.
I get that.
And he's not a very good runner, so I guess it's just going to come down to the cycling portion of the triathlon. Anyways, back to
I'm scratching my head. I heard you the first time.
It's not really funny, It's
is
just
it because the shark doesn't have any legs?
Right, so he can't actually ride a bicycle, but technically that really is kind of doesn't hold water for the whole land part of it too, like the running. So like it's just kind of a stupid joke in general.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, home turf tournament players have the advantage, meaning if a cash game player wins, it's going to be a huge upset in the tournament players' mind.
Not so much though.
Tournament players wise, that's what they're going to feel like. I feel.
Yes, but now the cash game guys, they have some advantages.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Early levels. You got a whole bunch of big blinds, which cash game players are way more comfortable playing deeper than tournaments, right? Than tournament players.
True.
You're 500, 700, 1,000 big blinds deep. I mean, no tournament guy is 1,000 big blinds deep, but I mean, there's people that have 3,000 at a 1-3 cash game.
I don't know if tournament players think of it that way that early in the tournament, right? Like they definitely think about that later in the tournament, but I feel like the cash game guys, and this is the point you're making, right? It's the cash game guys are going to play that deep stack early better than the tournament players are going to play the deep stack early. Yeah?
I 100% agree. They're going to be able to do more creative things. They're going to be able to put in, tougher spots that they're necessarily comfortable in that a tournament guy isn't necessarily comfortable in. Stacking off 700 big blinds with a pair just doesn't seem right from the tournament side of things. And the cash game guys are going to maybe, kind of put the pedal to the metal with a little bit more creativity early to accumulate some chips to make up for the fact that later on, when they have less big blinds, it's like the tortoise versus the hare. They're going to come out sprinting, and some of those cash game guys are just going to double up right away.
I was going to say it's interesting to think about that, because that's how you get a cash game guy to go super deep, is that he puts the pedal to the metal, wins all of those early, I don't want to call races, but early spots, builds
it's Jerry Gamala.
He builds a huge stack, and then he just keeps the pedal down and just keeps going forward. He's playing big stack poker the whole time. Yep. I'm not very good at big stack poker. I like small ball.
Well, yeah, that's small ball is a tournament man's game. Mm-hmm. So, and then another thing, and this isn't necessarily disrespectful to the tournament guys, but one would think that a regular 1-3 cash game player buying in for $400 bullets is maybe going to have, I don't know, a bigger bankroll / more, experience and comfort in, because and I hate always bashing on $20 early bird players, but like the $20 early bird players are $20 early bird players. They're $40. They're, low to low mid stakes tournament players. I don't know how good can it really be without. I don't know. I couldn't beat the $40 tournament, so I would be no good. But I'm just saying, anybody that's like an absolute crusher is probably playing bigger than $100 tournament. You know what I mean?
I think the better analogy there is that it's not so much about the dollar amount that they're playing for and the stress of that. It's the idea of it's more money involved, so it's more hours involved. You would think a player who's going to be that proficient in a cash game has played countless hours, right? Versus the early bird player that. And is there anybody who's qualified by just getting points from the early bird?
No. Yeah. There's a guy that only didn't play any hundreds. He played early birds and late nights. A couple of guys actually. Yeah.
Second chances.
Yeah, like that area. No deep stacks. And
that's kind of
really
awesome.
A lot of the tournament qualifiers have gotten a big chunk of points from the under $80 buy-in threshold. And not that it's easier to cash, but like when you get in a field of 70 deep stack players, it's really kind of hard to get in the top 5.
Yeah.
When you're looking at 25 to 30 second chance or late night players, it is a little bit easier to just string together a few final tables, and then you double up in the right spot. You get a second, you get a third, you can pick off more points that way.
Yeah.
And then especially when you get a double event, a double points event and stuff like that. Speaking of which, Friday, Saturday, double points in Tinley. You are still live if you have any points.
Oh, totally. I put that in the vlog as well, but you're right.
But nobody
watches that anymore. So let's get back to.
So, you are on the tournament side, the tournament players' point, their court, but the cash game guys should, in theory, have more hours played, should be a little bit more comfortable. They're definitely more comfortable in the early levels when they have more big blinds.
Right.
And I would say, in general, they're just more creative. They're, anybody who's playing 1-3 Hold'em is capable of missing a flush draw and overbet jamming on the river. Whereas, that, weapon in the arsenal of a $20, $40, $60, $80 tournament player isn't as common as it is in probably 20 out of the 25 cash game players, where they're just capable of doing things due to the fact that they play 1-3 versus other people that, can have a nice, tight, solid, aggressive style and really succeed in the tournaments and not have to pull out all those weapons because they don't need them in the field that they're playing in. So it is interesting that, you would say that the cash game players have stronger weapons, even though it is on the court of the tournament guys. But ultimately, I don't mean to just wrap it up, but ultimately, in the end, the blinds do take over a little bit. And when you do get down to a final table, the average stack certainly won't be over 30.
At some point, every single tournament eventually is going to equalize, and everybody's going to be playing a smaller stacked tournament in the sense of you don't have 300 big blinds.
That's how tournaments end.
Right.
They end because the blinds keep going up, and all of a sudden there's 100.
Somebody has to win all the chips in order to do so. Because
right.
People always ask me, why do the tournament blinds have to go up? And I was like, because the tournament will never finish otherwise. If you don't want blinds to go up, play the cash game. They're the same all the time.
It already doesn't finish, and the blinds go up.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately there might be some cash game players that get to that spot of being in the final table, but the ability to actually polish off a tournament and finish off at the win, and knowing the Nash equilibrium charts of what to do with 8 big blinds compared to 6 big blinds compared to 12 big blinds. I mean, the tournament guys are going to be much more comfortable because, you can really, every early bird player has been to a final table of the early bird and had 6 big blinds and had to navigate through it.
And grind that small stack until you can and leveling up and all that kind of stuff like that. Yeah, 100%.
And we're talking about winning the tournament too. It's not just leveling up. I mean, I think that more, I could even say that I would say that maybe 6 or 7 cash game players might even make the final table, but I would still take those 3 tournament players at the final table to polish it off and actually go through. Final table play is super underrated.
It's going to be cool, and it's something I'm excited about because there are not many tournaments. Both in Texas, I've been to a lot of stack tournaments and mega stack tournaments there. I've been to a lot of stack tournaments and mega stack tournaments in Chicago. I see a lot of tournament play. Big, fatty, deep stack tournament play where you're getting, 40, 50, 80,000 in chips. Ridiculous amount of chips. I mean, the old days, and maybe we should do an entire episode of just old school deep stacks and how they used to be 8,000 in chips. And at that moment, we thought those were deep stacks, but I'm getting off topic here. I've seen so many big, fat tournaments, and people get down to the end, and the money's huge, right? Like in Texas the other day, there were they get to a final table, which is 10, right? So they're 10-handed. They get to the final, and the nice thing is the software that they use in Texas is called this poker. It's the same app that we have on our phone. What's it called? Poker Atlas. So Poker Atlas down there, it's like their whole Bravo system. They got waiting lists. They got what cash games are running. The tournament clocks are all on there. It's cool because you can see the tournament clock on your phone. It's badass. Can't actually get it in Chicago, but maybe someday. Blah blah blah. The nice thing in there, and it's kind of skewed. I'm always torn if this is an aspect that should be on there. It gives the chop, meaning there are 30 players left. If you chop 30 ways right now, everybody would get $208. If they're chopped right now and you're 10-handed, everybody's going to get $1,700. And I think the chop was $1,100 10 ways, and I was just like, wow, are they really going to do that? And it might have been more. It might have been I think it was $1,600 to be honest. So
I remember this.
When you buy into a tournament for $200. And at some point in the tournament, every tournament, the WSOP main event, at some point, if you played long enough, if you traded stacks long enough, it's just going to be a coin flip at some point in the sense of, the blinds are going to be so big, you're going to have to pick a spot here. You can't just fold every hand and win. It's never going to happen. You could fold your way to a final table. You could fold your way to the top 3, but you're never going to win a tournament folding. You just can't do it. It's my new motto. Can't win by folding.
This is facts.
Mm-hmm. So I think the idea of this that I'm most excited about, besides the fact that somebody's going to get a dream fulfilled, and I don't want to sound corny or weird, and I'm not selling this to sell more, because at this point it's done way better than you and I both could have thought that this free roll was going to do, right? For the amount of players coming into CCG.
I mean, I had pretty high hopes.
Yeah, I'm excited about actually seeing 2 players physically fight it out where first place is an $11,500 first place prize of a main event seat and a lifelong dream that most people probably are never going to do on their own. It's a lot of money. that.
And not only that.
And second place is 2,500. Like, it's not a kick in the face, but it's a kick in the face to win 2,500 when the other guy's going to walk away with 11.5. And there's no chops.
And like,
you can't chop.
Really undersell the fact that like it is like so cool to be there. Like, we just did it on a limb last year, and I was just like,
you did it. I didn't get to go. I couldn't go.
I mean,
I'm going this year. Like, I'm very excited.
Yeah. But you really don't know what you're getting yourself into the sense that like it's so different than any other poker tournament ever. The feel, the atmosphere, the waves of people, the excitement. Like, we're playing for $10,000 a piece, and people are laughing and showing their cards, and their friends are behind and they're taking pictures. Like, you really can't undersell how, like, I mean, I don't want to sound corny either, but it's like Disney World. Like, you walk up to the Magic Kingdom, you could be 40 years old and not have any kids, and you still like magical, like walking in down whatever runway USA or whatever road that is down into the Magic Kingdom and the castle and stuff. It's like you get that same like giddy, like 8-year-old on Christmas Eve like feeling that like I never even thought like I had that in me. It's like
hadn't experienced it at all. Yeah.
You don't like realize, and without getting like the emotions that you can really like feel going into that. And it's like, wow, this is something like so much bigger than a poker tournament. And it really is cool. And I mean, like, that is a huge selling point to, these players. Obviously, they've responded by showing up event after event, grinding. And I mean, every month there's a new group of 7, 10, 12, 15 people in CCG for the month. They're parked there for the whole month.
Yep.
Oh, I'm getting my hours. Oh, I got to play every tournament. And, every month, 10 new people qualify. And then halfway through the month, you surface a new people. They're like, oh, this is your month, huh? I mean, remember there was the Nancy month, and there was the month Ryan came to the February Super Bowl month. Ryan went to every single event, and Brian Foodie in the first month. He's like, I got to get these hours in. Like, it is cool just to like see that you can have 21-year-olds and 50-year-olds and tournament players, cash game players.
Yeah, so many different walks of life.
Players. And they're all like just like drawn into CCG for a chance of this experience. It's pretty sweet. So, I mean, it is going to be cool to like see them actually battling it out.
Yeah. Gun to your head. We're going to end the episode.
Tournament player.
Wow. Didn't even let me get it out.
No, tournament player, but I will take more cash game players at the final table.
All right. Well, hit us up in the comment section. Not that there's a comment section. Like, you just yell it out right now when you're listening to this in your car or at the poker table. Just yell out tournament or cash game player. If you do that, Brandon will give you actually, I won't say anything because then people actually do it and then I'll have to pay them. So I'm not going to do that.
Oh, man.
Brandon will give you $1 this weekend if you yell tournament or cash game, and then you're booked for that bet. There's no bet. You just get a bonus $1 for yelling out in the room, and then we know that you listen to the podcast, so that would be cool. I think I'm going to go with tournament players as well. I'm a believer that the home court advantage is a big enough advantage,
especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that's when it matters, right? Like I know it's stupid to say that, but like the most important time of a tournament is the final table and on, because that's where tournaments are won and lost, which is why I was mentioning the Mega Stack stuff before, is that so many times you get in these big tournaments and there's so many chips in play and people are just like, meh, it's too much money. I'm cool with just chopping it because it's basically third place money and there's 9 players left, and mathematically it's stupid for us to play it out. I don't care how big a chip stack you have. Like, anything can happen. One aces versus kings, and that guy wins that 1 out of 5 times, and now roles are reversed, and you end up popping out 8th when you were the chip leader when there were 9 left. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really plays it all the way out anymore, and I don't think that really happens in any tournament. So I'm excited to force the fourth quarter to finish and kind of see where everybody lands. Cash game players get a little riled up here. We're calling you out.
Really
we don't think you've got the chops to make it happen. I don't think we're sending a cash game player to the main event.
No.
Go ahead.
If it's a cash game player against a tournament player, down heads up, and they're anywhere near even in chips, like it's an experience for the cash game player that they're just gonna they could just get eaten alive, you know.
Yep.
And I really
cash game guys don't play heads up.
Cash
Cash game players never want to play short-handed. Tournament players are used to shorthanded because, like, no matter what in a tournament, like, there's times you're going to be 6 or 7 handed, and like that's easy. Like, you don't really get down to 5-handed, but 6-handed play.
I mean, you do at the final table.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, throughout the whole tournament, there's going to be times where you're at a short table, and people are like, "We only have 6." I was like, "Everybody's got 6 or 7. Like, that's where we're at in the tournament until we lose another spot, and then we'll combine tables, and then you'll be fine again. And then you start at 9, then you go back down to, like, I feel like that those type of ranges where it's shorthanded play, short stacked play, kind of timed play. It's the idea of, like, it's why I love cash games. And I got to take a bathroom break. I want to go outside and smoke a cigarette or other type of things that are legal in some states and not others. I want to go get a drink. I just want to walk around, stretch my legs. Oh, the basketball game's got 2 minutes left. I'll just stop playing and watch that, and I don't have to worry about it. And then when I come back, just be like, cool, here's my blinds. Deal me the button. And, like, I get to, not only do I get to come back in the best spot, I don't get penalized anything. I feel like some of those things that make cash games so much fun, you know, quick double up, you can leave. The hit and run.
It's much more of a grind, and there's just such a mental game in the tournament. Like, you spinning up 40K to 100K and then back to 40K, like, it takes a lot to hold the composure.
Yep.
You know, in a cash game, you can just rebuy. You can just top up. Like, okay, cool, I was 400, and then I got up to 800, and I got stacked. Cool, I'm 400 again. I'll try again.
And when you play in, like, cash game tables, like PLO games that you and I are more familiar with playing, and it's table captain, and a fish or a whale bangs a big pot, and he's up to 3K, and you're just like, cool, chips. Give me some more chips because I want to buy chips. So that way when I do get in a big hand with this guy, I can take all of that money rather than being limited by what I have. In tournament play, I can't yell out, add on, and just get more chips because some fish has got extra chip. Like, you don't, that doesn't exist. Like,
nope, you gotta grind your way back to getting an even stack with them and then stack them.
Yeah, you want more chips. You want more chips, you're going to have to win them. Well, the motto of this episode, and we're going to wrap it up, Brandon and I are both team tournament for the free roll. In this particular instance, in this very specific area, I'm not saying tournament players are better poker players in general, but in this particular battle royale of the free roll tournament coming up in June for CCG, don't worry, Texas, we got something cooking for you guys too. I feel like it's a tournament player that we're sending to the main event, which I think, in all honesty, they've got a better chance of winning. But I guess that's the whole point of the episode. Remember, go ahead.
I'm going to bold stance here. I'm going to say that I'm just going to go on a limb with your first original question and say cash game players are better poker players than tournament players.
Oh.
But they are. They're creative. There's so much less solved. I mean, you can go on a chart and be a good tournament player with 20 big blinds. Me and you know how to play that. We can do that right now.
It really is a huge difference.
Pretty solid. It's pretty easy. I mean, I'm not saying we're dead on perfect, but we're really, really close to get the ranges. I'm completely lost watching a high stakes poker match where everybody's got 1,000 bigs. I'm like, I have no idea. The guy could have a set. He could have 9 high. I have no idea. I'm just sitting there puking all over the place because I have no idea what to do. So there you go.
Episode 66, the quote of the podcast so far: "You can't fold your way into winning. Can't fold your way to a winner. It's impossible. You're going to have to play a hand every once in a while. So get out there and play some hands. You got one more month left to qualify. The month of May will be an exciting month at CCG because it's the last 10 players are going to get in, and I'm excited about that. It should be awesome. And a lot of the regulars are already in. So
40 regs are basically in.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, it's reg.
There's some randos in there. There's some newbies that came out and super dedicated themselves and did great. But I'm excited. This is going to be a wild finish. And I'm excited to see where it goes next for
and
season 2.
I don't know if you guys have taken a peek at this week's standings, but
oh my God, it's so close.
The hours are close. The tournaments are close. You got double points.
Yeah,
I mean, you got nuts. A guy that's in 20th place that could just win.
Bink the whole thing. Yep. It's nuts. It's awesome. It's crazy. You've already played 4 weekends in April, and you could actually get ousted in the last weekend because double points and smaller fields, because I feel like it'll be a slightly smaller fielded events on Friday and Saturday. Sunday's going to be a wild mystery tournament. It'll be nuts. Anyways, can't fold your way into winning, folks. Thanks for listening to The Overlay. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Overlay Pod. Be prepared for Brandon's takeover again of the CCG social media accounts. Maybe we'll give him some Paramount, some hookups. Maybe we'll just do some fun stuff in general. Maybe we'll get some Paramount patches for the summer and just send a small team
ready.
from there.
I'll sport Paramount Poker anywhere.
They love you down there. I mean, they love me the best, but they love you too.
That is true.
It's
I
great.
mean, I did just show up and win like 3,000 and then
Yeah,
flew
it's
out
the best.
the next morning.
I mean, you're like
Sorry, guys.
you're like Scoops. You're like Scoops
Yeah.
Jr. down there.
I'll bring back the money to Texas.
Guy
Don't
doesn't do
worry.
anything but scoop pots. Thank you for listening. We will catch you next time. See you this weekend in Chicago if you are in Chicago for the last weekend of April. And I will personally be in Texas in the next few weeks for some midweek play. So I'll send out some info on how you can play with me and maybe even Brando. Maybe I'll talk you into coming down for a PLO game in Houston. I know you live Houston. I know you love PLO. I really don't have to sell this very hard.
You don't. You really don't.
I don't.
I mean, you got to buy me like a $180 airline
Yeah,
ticket
it's
on
not
it.
bad. It's well worth the fun. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.